Good evening, everyone. I'm April Rochelle from Bashar Communications, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to a second day of this exciting adventure with Bashar. And we're going to continue this weekend with our adventure with Willa. Willa is a Nocturnal from 700 years in the future, a Shapeshifter, a Cryptic. And so she's going to be coming through tonight and sharing some more information about her world, particularly the idea of the 5 levels of mastery, which is something that she went through and that she's going to bring us into her world and help us understand what that's like and what those symbols are. Tomorrow's session is entitled The Winter Spirit, and this is about Willa also. She'll be coming through and sharing with us information about nature spirits. So if you love that kind of information, I think this is going to be very exciting, and it's just really going to stimulate our imagination to take us into realms that we're not familiar with. Okay, so getting close to starting. We are going to show you one video, and this is about a workshop that Bashar created specifically to help people not only get in touch with their own deeper sense of adventure and their own personal transformation, but also as a preparation for ET contact. And that is the Cetacean Transformation Workshop that we do in Hawaii that combines a guided meditation series with swimming with the dolphins every day. And I think I'll just let the video show you what it's like. We have a couple of spaces left for February of this year. And then the month after that, we have one spot remaining for our Whales of Atlantis trip that is in the Dominican Republic. And on that trip, we actually live on a boat 80 miles out to sea in the sanctuary where the whales come to breed and to give birth. And so you literally are surrounded by thousands of whales and no people, except for the people on the boats. There's only 3 boats out there. And every morning we do a guided meditation and about Atlantis. Bashar takes us on a really interesting journey through that whole experience of Atlantis and connecting with cetaceans and whales. And then we leave about 8:30 in the morning, and we come back for lunch, but basically we're out on the water all day long and in the water with the whales whenever we find a whale that's interested in interacting with us. And a lot of times that involves the babies. And the babies will literally come up to you and look at you and make eye contact. And it's really an amazing experience. So if you love cetaceans or whales and dolphins, this is a wonderful experience to have also. So let's just let you all show the video.
I wanna glide through the open sea, side by side with you next to me. Oh, when the time is right, you'll glide right back to me. I wanna slide through the ocean blue, right beside you 2 by 2. Oh, when the timing's right, you'll slide right back to wish I could have stayed with you for the rest of my day.
Effortlessly and joyfully slipping through the sea. Streamlined like a dolphin, streamlined like a whale. Weaving, diving, bobbing, smoothly gliding, effortlessly through life, slipping through the sea.
I wanna glide through the open sea, side by side with you next to me. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll glide right back to me. I wanna slide through the ocean blue, right beside you, 2 by 2. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. Oh, you be my guide as we're slipping through the sea. All those moments together I do treasure. It doesn't really get any better. I wish I could have stayed with you for the rest of my day.
In unity, in harmony, in joy and in love, you drift into the depths of the deep blue sea.
Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. As we're slipping through the sea.
Okay, so I know this is the part that you're really waiting for. And it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the very talented channel for Bashar, Daryl Enka. Okay, so thank you again for opening this.
For going to sleep. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you for going to sleep, Daryl, and being able to channel this amazing being that is now going to take us into the land of Willa Hillikrissing.
All right.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are you all ready? Yes. Sure? Yes. Okay, just checking. All right, you guys, thank you for being here tonight. Have a wonderful time. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Oh, let us say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, thank you. Once again, we thank you for the co-creation of this interaction. Please stand by while we facilitate Willa. All right, good evening, my downline darlings. How are you faring this evening? I think some of you are still sleeping. How are you faring? All right then, let us be giving you some information at the moment on the idea that has been called in my world the 5 levels of mastery. This is a process, this is a training, this is a system that has been developed over hundreds of years of your counting, us being upline 700 of your years. That which you call your future on your own world, and me being in the Emerald Isle. The idea of the 5 levels of mastery involves the training that allows an initiate to become that which is known as a Cryptic, a Nocturnal, a Shapeshifter, a Sage, And finally, should one be kenning to go in that direction, a Wraith. The idea is represented by different symbols, and we will be explaining what each level may mean. The first level of the cryptic is represented by the symbol of a triangle, which represents the idea of the earth, and the cryptic's training will allow the being to make the connections necessary to ground oneself in the earth plane. For you see, getting in touch and learning to communicate with the trees, with the rocks, with the animals, with the sea and the sky, and all these things of your physical reality will allow you to remain grounded when dealing with the other levels. If you did not go through the phase of becoming a cryptic, which allows you to understand how to communicate with those things of your own reality, of your own world, before you go shooting off into other dimensions, then it would be like a strong wind rushing at you and you having no roots. It would overturn you and uproot you. So by grounding yourself and having deep roots, you stay firm and connected to the earth while you're out exploring the ideas later on in the other levels of other dimensions and other energies and parallel realities. So the idea of the cryptic is to form an ability to communicate and commune with all these life forms on your planet, to really anchor yourself into the physical reality and become truly expressive as a part of nature, so that you can extend your senses and hear the stories of the trees and the stories of the brooks and the stories of the rocks and the stories of the birds and all these things that form a rich tapestry of the world as you may know it. Going through that training will involve many different kinds of things, including the idea of the use of a substance that we have termed divinorum. Now the idea is it opens up your senses and allows you to really begin to relate to these other life forms by allowing it to be a little bit easier to shift your frequency. It is specially designed and brewed by divinorum masters. My master being that you know as a Sasquatch named of Argus. And in taking the divinorum and opening up those realms and those windows to the nature of nature, you allow yourself to connect not only with the trees and the rocks and the birds and the bees, but also with those beings you would call the elementals, which we will be talking about tomorrow of your time. But the idea is that in coming to your world 700 years ago, from my perspective, downline we call it, the idea is that the hybrids with their extended senses began to perceive that there were these elemental beings that many humans could not see, and we began to develop relationships with them. And in developing those relationships, they taught us many things about how to connect to nature in similar ways to them, how to understand that we were part of nature, as you all are. When you then go beyond the level of the cryptic and you begin your journey into the level called the nocturnal, the idea is now you have established and grounded yourself in this one reality, or what you consider to be one reality. Of course, many of you now know it is a series of parallels, but we are now talking about the idea of the timeline that you consider to be your own. But when you go beyond that and you have connected to that, you can begin to explore the idea and sense the idea of other parallel realities that coexist simultaneously with you all. In exploring those parallel realities and becoming a nocturnal and understanding the secrets of the night and those that reveal themselves in the cool moonlight, you begin to pick up information and knowledge about different parallel realities, different parallel reality versions even of yourselves. And you can call upon that information in those parallel worlds, and you can download it into your world and apply it in your reality. It is a rich tapestry of information that you can call upon when you arrive on the level of the nocturnal. Now, going from that level of recognizing the idea of your connection to nature in terms of the parallel realities and the information that you're able to download with those awarenesses and those connections, you can move to the next level in your training, which is the Shapeshifter. Something that people on your planet don't quite understand, even though you may know the concept of the Shapeshifter. is that there is actually no shifting of your shape in terms of the idea of chemistry and molecules and things like that. That's not the way it works. Once you have established as a nocturnal some connection to these parallel realities and different versions of your own being, the shapeshifter has then developed the opportunity and the ability to call upon those shapes of alternate selves and alternate presentations from parallel realities and create the presentment of them in their own reality. They are not actually in any way, shape, or form altering their own molecular structure per se, but they are taking on the persona to the degree that they need to of other parallel versions of their own being and presenting those to those who are in the reality in which they are anchored. So they are really becoming a literal reflection of different parallel reality individuals. And that is why they can also take the shapes of the trees and the rocks and the birds and the bees, because again, they are just different angles of different reflections of us all. Moving on to the idea then from shape-shifting to the sage. Now the sage can not only call upon the idea of changing their own identity and presenting it to those around them in the way of the shapeshifter, but can actually call upon the reality itself and change the reality around them to be representative of another parallel reality to the degree that others can sense this and perceive and experience this. And you would call this wizardry and witchcraft and magic, but it is simply the idea of identifying so strongly with another parallel reality that they can allow others to match a frequency very easily where they can actually see that parallel reality and so appear to be conjuring objects, changing physical objects within their reality. But no such thing is going on in the way that you typically think of it. It is again that they are allowing an object that already exists simultaneously, right here, right now, from another parallel reality to appear before your eyes and take the place of what was there before in the reality that you're used to. When you go from the sage into the level of the wraith, which sometimes can be quite challenging for many individuals, and very, very few people will do this. It is a very rare thing for those sages to become wraiths, for there are different kinds of ideas that can occur, that can happen, that can take you a little bit off course and be very challenging. But those that can understand how to achieve the balance between the sage and the wraith will understand that now they have tapped in to all these parallel realities that you would consider to be physical in a similar manner to your own, are now stretching and bridging themselves between the physical and the non-physical, between the world of matter and the world of spirit. And they can actually cause changes in the spiritual reality that can appear in certain ways upon the earth and can function very similarly to the idea of what the Bashar has described of his world in terms of actually being quasi-physical, bridging those two realities and exhibiting many of the attributes of spirit while still remaining connected to the physical realm. They can make adjustments in the template level reality that exists in the spirit realm and cause great changes to occur in the physical world around them and in many other parallel realities. They can extend their abilities into other parallel realities, visit those other parallel realities, cause changes in those other parallel realities in addition to their own, because now they are coming from the level of spirit that bridges all of those parallel realities. So these are the 5 levels of mastery, and as we said, the first level, the cryptics, is represented by the idea of the triangle, which represents the earth. Then you have the idea of the nocturnal, which is represented by a wavy line, which represents the sea. Then you have the idea of the shapeshifter, which is represented by an arch, or an arc, as you may term it, which represents the sky and the changing weather patterns. Then you have the idea of the sage, which is represented by the idea of the circle, or space as you would have it, the void, out of which all things come. Then you have the idea of the wraith, which is represented by the dot, which is the idea of the center and source, which is spirit. So you have the earth, and you have the sea, and you have the sky, and you have space, and you have spirit. And those are the 5 symbols that represent the different levels, the 5 levels of mastery. Are you all somewhat kenning what we are saying to you? Yeah. All right. Now, there will be, at the end of the transmission, the idea during your holotrope meditation of a meditation that will help take you through some of the idea of crystallizing this concept of the 5 levels within you. We didn't expect all of you to become masters tonight, but we understand that we can plant the seed within you so that you may decide for yourselves which ideas will work best for you and how to initiate yourselves and become your own apprentice to begin to grow this seed. Begin to find a way and a path that works for you in your own mastery of self and in your connection to your own nature and your connection to the infinite. So if you will be joining us on that journey, we will be very happy to begin your initiation that way during your holotrope meditation, taking you through those 5 levels on a cursory level. So be it, but nevertheless planting that seed that you can water and you can grow by shining the light of your own inner light upon it. Now then, we will, as has been suggested, sort of, as you say in your language downline, hang around with you for a little while. And we will be answering some of your questions and having dialogues with you if you wish. So if you would, you may begin to do that if it pleases you. As you be asking your questions, the Bashar that helps facilitate us through our downline self that you would call the channel, you may find that we will be tag teaming, going back and forth basic on the idea of what is appropriate and who it is appropriate for to be answering the questions. So we will go in and out as necessary.
Hi, beautiful.
Well, you're not even seeing me, but you got that right.
Thank you.
So good on you.
I respect that you feel beautiful, and that is enough.
All right then, you're well on your way.
Can I please ask about when you mentioned the concept of Divorum?
Divinorum.
Dividorum?
Yes.
Is that concept set up in your mind, or is that symbol reflection set up in your mind as a tool just to shift you quicker to the state of being of connecting to the nature consciousness around you, like the rocks and...
It is from nature itself.
Okay.
You have similar teachers in your world that are the plants that grow naturally for this purpose, but only under the guidance of a Divinorum master will it allow you to really navigate in the way that it is intended. For the brewing of the Divinorum is an art, and it contains many abilities. It can be brewed in ways to give you very specific experiences and teachings. It can be brewed in a way to give you a very broad and general understanding of experience, depending upon what it is you seek. So it requires a Divinorum master to be the one brewing and taking you down that road on your journey.
At the same time, did you have you tried the experience of Divinorum?
Yes, you're not kenning what I am saying to you. In order for me to achieve the level I have achieved as an initiate back before I became a cryptic, you have to start that journey with your Divinorum ritual. So I have had the Divinorum experience and ritual many times at different levels as I go through my journey on the 5 levels of mastery.
Okay, yeah, and I was going to ask specifically can you hit that state of being of those specific circumstances that you said without even using Divinorum at all and using a different tool altogether?
You can use whatever tool will work for you in the way that the Bashar has told you about the permission slips, but understanding that this is our way, and this is the way that works 700 years upline for the hybrids in the way that they have created the reality in which they now experience themselves.
Oh, fantastic.
Because it is a connection from nature to nature. It is that which allows you to experience more readily in a variety of ways that which is the teacher within.
That sounds exciting.
It is. Or we would not be doing it.
Oh, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be held to be reasonable for once, because there have been many along my life journey that thought I was out of my mind.
And that's valid to be out of your mind in your spirit? Or,
Well, on that we agree.
I was going to ask, you were talking about these 5 levels, and in any given level is not the entire reality contained within you. So if you're talking about a Nocturnal Shapeshifter or anything like that, are you only going to resonate with, from that spirit level, with consciousness that has a belief system that is lined up to see those manifestations?
Of course, that's the way it works, but still there is the enjoyment of the process. For it creates an enrichment within you that allows for a deeper appreciation of what it is you go through, because that is the point of life.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yes.
So the process is the point.
Absolutely.
Because right now I've been feeling like I've just wanted to be at point X and not have a process about it. Or
Point X, is that a particular location in your world?
Probably, but also I was analogically using it as a state of being that I've desired to have, but I haven't. Like, I've just felt like that snapshot. Or
What's a snapshot?
Probably not what I'm referring to it to be by saying a snapshot's a photograph thing, or it could be.
You're talking about a representation.
A
symbol.
representation. Yeah. So in my imagination, I imagine a reality where there are things, and then in my reality there are different things.
All right, but I have a question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Where else but within your imagination would you be imagining things?
Where else within my imagination would I be imagining things?
You said in my imagination, I imagine. Well, I would
everything
assume
is
that to be
imagination.
the case, yes.
Oh, so you're saying so more holistic.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for that correction.
Because really this is all your imagination.
Okay, yeah, I ken you, as you say.
Well, thank you for kenning that.
That's awesome. Or whatever Bashar says about awe.
All right, well, we understand. He's explaining some things to us as we go along.
Oh, cool.
Because we have different ways of seeing and different ways of doing and different ways of thinking applying from you. So he's acting as a little bit of a translator.
All right. So how is so you've got completely different, or not completely, I mean everything's completely different but similar in its different ways, but
there are some things that are very similar and things that you would recognize should you transport yourself to our time. There are many things that are very different that you wouldn't understand what you were looking at.
Okay, yeah. And so the consciousness that is my human consciousness doesn't have a symbolic representation of it to interpret back into my physical experience while I'm contained within that physical experience. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think I'm saying what you just said, because what you just said makes no sense.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have to review what sense I was attempting to make.
All right. We'll let you go off later. And do that then.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for chatting with me today.
Well, thank you.
Or whatever time it is now. Yeah, now. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Evening to you then.
I guess my question has to do with balancing the heart and the mind.
Nice.
The personality that I seem to have given myself is one that's inclined to, I guess, the mental space, the cerebral space, and I find it very challenging to...
I'll be letting the Bashar handle this one if you don't mind.
All right.
All right, please proceed.
Thank you.
You're talking about the heart and the mind and the balance between the two.
Yes.
Yes. Well, you understand you have your higher mind.
Yes.
And you understand that it sends through the mind, through the physical mind to the heart, which then acts as a reflector and comes back into the physical mind that then projects out into your reality. And that is the balance, that you have to allow the mind to be transparent enough to allow the heart to reflect the higher mind in a way that then the physical mind can utilize for projecting into your reality to create, by filtering it through the belief systems, whatever the symbolic reflection may then need to be, to show you what is going on, what filters may exist in the belief system within the mind, within the physical mind, that the higher mind and the heart hold between and project from. Is this making some sense to you as we are explaining?
To some degree or extent, yes.
All right.
I guess, could
Yes.
you repeat that for me just one more time?
Imagine a picture here that you
Okay.
have a higher mind that is non-physical,
Yes.
and you have your physical mind in the center, that is your persona.
Yes.
Yes? That is made of the beliefs and the emotions and the thoughts that creates the ego structure
Right.
and then exhibits its behavior in your physical reality. Yes?
Yes.
And then you have the heart, which has its own intelligence,
Right.
its own awareness. The higher mind will then send, like a beam, if you wish an analogy, to the heart that gets reflected back to the mind and gets filtered through the belief systems and gets projected outward in the idea of your physical experience. You have your physical eyes, which create a parallax, which create a three-dimensional experience for you physically, but you have the idea of the higher mind and the heart, which also has parallax in this direction, to create a reality emotionally, so that there is depth to physical reality, so it feels real.
Right.
Otherwise it wouldn't, because it is an illusion. Yes?
Right. Yeah.
So you have these two different kinds of parallax with the physical mind in the center. But the idea is that all of this energy is filtering through the belief system that is what makes up the persona, the foundation of the persona, to allow you to get the reflection from those different parallax views coming back to you, so you can always have a guidance system to know what beliefs you are holding on to, and thus can make course corrections and adjustments as you go. Is this helping at all, or I'm only confusing you?
It is helping. I guess it's more so me trying to feel my emotional body more, because sometimes it feels like there is a disconnect.
But the disconnect is what we are saying would only come from the idea of a fundamental belief in disconnection. Because even though you may have that experience, you have to be connected in order to create an experience of disconnection. And it's all right to have the experience, but you have to always know, in order to move forward, that the only way you can have an experience of disconnection is if you're connected.
Okay.
If you were really disconnected, you wouldn't exist. You cannot be disconnected from source, but you can use your connection to create an experience of disconnection.
Interesting.
Yes?
Yeah, okay.
Is this helping?
It is. Thank you.
It's all about your definition, and this is why we always encourage all of you to be very clear and very precise and know consciously what you are defining yourself to be, because it is all about that definition and your belief in it that creates your experience of your reality. And now, in this day and age, it is more important than ever to be very precise about that definition. Because you can have a definition that to you might seem like you're on track, but when you might give it a little bit of an analysis, you may find that you are still containing a little bit of a contradictory concept within it that isn't allowing you to be the pure representation of what you would prefer. And even that little tiny bit of contradictory definition within it is not the definition that is most aligned with you.
Wow. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
It's very much so.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You are welcome. When you come up, you may, if you wish, request that you either speak to us or that you speak to Willa, and we will make the adjustment accordingly.
Hi, Willa.
No, I am Bashar.
Hi, Bashar.
But you may request to speak to Willa unless you need to speak to us. Which do you prefer at the moment?
Bashar.
Here I am.
Hi, Bashar.
And do you good day.
Good. So, it's so amazing. I did not write my name. My friend wrote my name without me knowing about it. So
surprise.
Yeah. So I don't have any question, actually.
Then you don't have to ask one. You can make a statement if you wish.
I can say that I'm very happy to be on Earth at
all
this
right.
time.
That's a good thing, because that's where you are. And
with all
I
the
can think of a
changes
question
expected.
for you to ask if you wish.
Sure.
You can ask your friend, why did you write my name down?
I asked her.
And what did she say?
They said if they call your name,
Yes.
that means that you have to be there.
Why?
And-
You don't have to do anything.
Do you have any message for me? Maybe that's the reason.
You think
Yeah,
that we would have a message for you?
maybe.
Oh, all right.
Maybe I'm hoping.
You are you?
Yes.
You sure you want to do that?
Yes.
Usually, the message we have for anyone who asks for a message is in the form of our question. You know what that question is?
The highest
Are
excitement.
you acting every moment that you can on your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence on a particular outcome?
I'm trying. I cannot say that I'm doing that
Why
all
not?
the time.
Why not? What beliefs cause you to hesitate or make you resist doing that as often as you would prefer to?
I would say fear
Of?
of outcome not being what
But I just told
I
you that the
expect-
formula is that you can't insist on the outcome.
That's-
If you insist on the outcome and are afraid you're going to get the wrong one, you're not using the formula. You're using something else. You see, this is what we were talking about. You don't have a definition that corresponds to the formula. That's why it's not working all the time. When you use it and are in alignment with it, it works. But when you have a definition that says, I have to focus on the outcome, and the outcome has to be what I think it needs to be, or I'm afraid that it won't be that, and that something will go wrong, you're ignoring the third criteria in the formula, which is you have to completely and utterly drop any insistence or assumption on what the outcome needs to be. The reason for that is because while many of you think you can imagine what the ideal outcome would be, you can't. Therefore, you have to allow your higher mind to bring you what the ideal outcome would actually be. And what that means is the image you have, the symbol you have, the idea you have of what you think the outcome should be is actually a limitation on what the higher mind could give you. Even better than you imagined. When you can really wrap your mind around the understanding that your visualization is only a symbol to get you into the proper excited state to receive the outcome that is best from the higher mind, and understand that your visualization is only to be used as a symbol that way, and is actually a limitation on the higher mind, blocking the higher mind from giving you what you really could be getting, then you will understand that you can drop that because it is a limitation. So all you need to do is understand that it's not the end-all be-all, it's a limitation, and you won't insist on it anymore. You'll stop insisting on a particular outcome because you will know the higher mind will bring you exactly what you need. Is that making some sense?
Definitely.
Is that helping?
Definitely.
All right. Then did you get the message that you needed?
Yes. Now I have a question.
Oh, well, what a surprise.
Not related to what we talked,
Yes.
but do I have any hybrid child?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't ask me how many.
Okay. Okay. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
My question is about frequency.
Yes.
What is the easiest and the quickest way to raise my frequency? Besides the exciting and excitement and all that, but just
Why would you want another way other than the most efficient way to do it? Why would you ask for something that is not the easiest way to do it?
oh, that is the easiest way.
Yes. Because it's the formula that aligns with your true vibration. Is that not clear?
It's clear,
Are you sure?
kind of.
Kinda. Let's go through it.
Okay.
You understand that you have a signature frequency that
Yeah.
represents you.
Uh huh.
When something excites you, when you're passionate about something, that is your physical translation of the vibration of your true self. That's why it excites you. That's what that feeling is. It's the recognition, it's the sensing, it's the experience in physical terms of the vibrational frequency of your signature tone. Do you understand? So anytime you act on the thing that excites you the most, to the best that you are able, as fully as you can, and you have no insistence on the outcome, you are most purely aligned with your signature frequency. And when you are most purely aligned with your signature frequency, it opens up the idea of the structure of existence to you in such a way that you get the synchronicity you need, you get everything you need, you get the support you need in perfect timing, everything. And it reveals to you anything you need to know, anything that is relevant for your life. It moves you forward in exactly the most efficient way along the path of least resistance. That is the most efficient way to raise your frequency because it is the frequency of your true self. And all you need to do when you take action from that state is then no matter what occurs, no matter what happens, no matter what results, no matter what the outcome may be from that action, all you need to do is give it a positive spin, a positive meaning so you can extract a beneficial effect from it. And that's it. And just keep doing it. That's the formula. Please understand that we're not giving you just an opinion. We're not giving you a philosophy. We are giving you an instruction manual for how the structure of existence actually works. So therefore, follow the instruction manual. It has already been rendered down into the simplest possible form.
What if it's that easy? How come we're not always doing it?
That's such a good question. And that's the question you all have to answer for yourselves, because the reason you wouldn't do it, the reason you wouldn't know that it's that easy is because you've been taught to believe it's not. That's why it's so important to examine your beliefs. Many of you have beliefs that things have to be a struggle, that you don't deserve things. And therefore, those kinds of beliefs get in the way of you experiencing it as easily as you could. That's why it's so important to clean out those negative belief systems that are causing the resistance within you and causing you not to realize how easy it is. That's what the whole process of this transformational age is all about, letting go of the things that don't work for you so that you can experience the ease and effortlessness and joy of life.
So what's the process like to get rid of that belief?
You have to identify the negative belief consciously. Because when you identify a negative belief, that belief being negative is out of alignment with your true vibration. That's what negative in this context means. And when you identify something that is out of alignment with your true vibration, the moment you actually consciously identify it, then it will appear illogical, nonsensical, and as soon as it appears to make no sense, it's gone. So all you need to do to find it, if you are willing to do so, is to ask the question. Anytime a negative feeling comes up, anytime the resistance raises its head, is to ask, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation in order to feel or behave or think the way I do? If you are willing to hear the answer, it will come in some form, either through synchronicity or in dreams or some form, or you'll just know what it is. Or you can ask the question in another way, because sometimes fear works better for many people on your planet. And that is, what am I afraid will happen if I actually allow myself to move forward in the way that I would prefer to, in the way of my excitement? And sometimes then when you answer that question, the fear will be indicative of what the negative belief is. And again, as soon as you really identify it, you'll see that it really makes no sense. It doesn't belong to you. You picked it up from either your parents, your school, your friends, your society, but you're carrying around someone else's belief. That makes you a belief thief. Don't steal other people's beliefs.
Right.
Your own bags weigh nothing. Right. Anything that holds you down, anything that holds you back, anything that weighs you down doesn't belong to you. Right. And all you need to do is find out what it is and let it go. Now, once you identify a belief, and it seems illogical and nonsensical, as we said, that's the end of the process of letting it go, not the beginning. Once something makes no sense, you'll drop it. However, If you say you've dropped it and you still discover that you're still behaving the same way with the same resistance, what that means is you haven't found the fundamental belief. Keep digging. Because sometimes beliefs, negative ones, will surround themselves with other secondary beliefs to make sure you don't find the fundamental one, because that's what negative beliefs do. That's how they protect and preserve themselves. And therefore, the first clue is you're still behaving the same way that you don't prefer to behave. That should tell you you haven't found the fundamental belief. Keep digging. And remember, negative beliefs will use every trick in the book to prevent you from changing them. That's the way they're designed, to perpetuate themselves. So the more fear you have about finding the negative belief, that means the closer you are to finding it and letting it go, because it will throw more fear at you to prevent you from recognizing it. So the more afraid you are to look, that should be your first clue that you're just about ready to let it go. So you can use that by defining that fear in the positive way that I just did for you.
You did.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. It's hard though.
That's a belief. There is no such thing as an inherently difficult situation. Only your belief allows you to experience it as so. So the first thing to do when you hear yourself saying things like that is catch yourself and go, wait a minute, that's not a fact. It's a belief you've bought into so strongly that you have been made to believe it's a fact. But there are no facts except the 5 laws. That's it. Everything else besides those 5 laws is not a fact. It's an opinion, it's a belief, it's a perspective. An opinion can be changed, a belief can be changed, a perspective can be changed, a fact cannot. And therefore, if you buy into the idea that something like, well, that's difficult, is a fact, you take away the ability to change it. But when you understand that there are no facts except the 5 laws, then everything is changeable. And when you catch yourself, when you hear yourself giving those definitions, you can stop yourself and say, wait a minute, I don't have to believe that it's difficult. That's not a fact. It's just something I've been taught to believe is true. What would I prefer to believe is true? That it's actually fun and easy and transformable and changeable. And that's part of the challenge, because challenges are fun if you define them that way. Remember, nothing has built-in meaning. You give it the meaning, and that's the way you experience it. Everything is neutral. Everything is neutral until you give it meaning. Whether you do that consciously or unconsciously isn't the point. If you give it a meaning so automatically, so unconsciously that it seems like a fact, that doesn't mean it is a fact. It just means you've been trained to automatically give it a meaning that makes it look like a fact. Catch yourself and remind yourself, only the 5 laws are the facts. Everything else is just a condition of local circumstances and just a perspective, just an opinion, just a belief.
How would I know that I'm almost there? How would I know it?
How would you know what?
That I've identified and I've
by the fact that you will feel differently, by the fact that you'll experience your life in a different way. Because when you truly let go of a belief that is causing resistance within you, you will experience your life accelerating in a very different way. You will know it when you feel it.
I will feel it. I will know it.
Absolutely. It will be like night and day. Yes? Have you not ever experienced the idea of letting go of an old belief and suddenly feeling so much lighter and so much more wonderful and joyful in your life?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's that simple.
So there's a lot of layers to it then.
Yes, because that's the way you've created your reality to be experienced. Through the letting go of the different layers so that you can discover yourself from a new point of view. That's the whole point of your life.
So keep going.
Keep going. Act on your highest passion to the best of your ability with no insistence on a particular outcome. You will unlock the complete kit and just make sure that whatever happens, you know it's there for a reason. Even if what happens is not what you prefer, and that's okay to recognize that, but recognize it neutrally. Don't give it negative energy. Just recognize, all right, this isn't what I prefer. However, it's got to be here for a positive reason. Use it that way. You'll get the benefit from it.
It gets better and better and better.
Of course it does, because that's how it works. Please, all of you, remember, you are always unconditionally supported by creation, unconditionally. So if you buy into a negative belief, creation isn't going to contradict you. It's going to say, all right, if that's what you want to buy into, I will support you in your negative belief.
Okay.
But if you say, I now prefer to buy into positive ones, again, unconditionally, creation will say, all right, I'll support you in that. You're the one that's in charge,
Okay.
not it.
So every time I identify it, I just clip it and clip it and clip it and
Yeah.
just, okay.
Be clear about your definitions and everything will begin to shift accordingly. Does that help?
Helps.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar. Thank you.
What's on your mind, dearie?
Hello, Willa. I'm going to take you down a timeline here
Oh, all right.
that will come to my conclusion of what I wanted to know. When my husband Fred passed on December 22nd, 2012, Bashar spoke to me that evening. He said Fred and I had a connection to Ireland and that I would have 3 days and 3 nights of images. 1 year later, on the first anniversary of Fred's passing, and after meeting my Irish connection Colleen earlier in the year, I spoke to Bashar, stating there had been no images. He said, you haven't hit the synchronistic download trigger yet. He also said that Colleen was, oh, I'm really shaking. Wow.
That's because you're matching a frequency that you rarely feel in these particular encounters. Because we have a very different frequency than the Bashar.
Yes, well, I'm really feeling it.
All right, then.
Okay.
Go ahead and feel away. Shake in your boots.
Oh, I am. He said you haven't hit the synchronistic download trigger yet. He also said that Colleen was not her name, but she would be the trigger point for these images. Now, Willa, you then came through and confirmed that she would be the trigger point. I said I thought Colleen was Fred's parallel incarnation. Hardly stand here. And
Are you having fun yet, then?
I am.
All right.
If
Keep going.
If I can stand.
Keep going.
You said that I thought Colleen was Fred's parallel incarnation, and you said she was an aspect of me.
That's right.
And you said when you tap into Colleen, you will also understand the connection that Fred has, and in understanding the connection from Colleen's point of view, you will have more closer communication with the aspect which is also Fred.
And so how's it going for you?
Good. You also said you need to be your version of her in order to experience the alignment with her, have the same information she has access to, and have the same thoughts that she has.
And you understand what that means. You have to be Colleen.
I understand that. So let me continue.
I will then.
Thank you.
Since you're so insistent about it.
Well, I need to get the whole story to get to the conclusion of what I wanted to talk to you about.
All right then.
And since then, I found out she's a member of your team. Still uses her nature name, Lily Stargazer. It's not Colleen, it's Lily Stargazer.
And she's the one that has the Stargazer in Port Dublin.
Oh, really?
No, I'm lying to you then. I came from 700 years up line to fill you full of fibs. Yes, she has the Stargazer in. That's why it's the Stargazer in.
Stargazer
In.
in?
Yes, tavern, you understand?
Oh.
In Port Dublin.
Wow. Okay. And that's because of our 27-year vibrational relationship with that flower that she introduced me to.
Well, that's not why she has the Stargazer in.
No, I'm talking about her name, Lily Stargazer.
Yes.
Yes. And she did trigger one image shortly thereafter. One morning when I was listening to an Irish song, Lily had me close my eyes. I was immediately in an Irish pub with a pint of beer in my
You
hand.
see? Tavern.
That's the tavern I was in. Is that right?
You do have the ability to put two and two together.
Together, yes.
All right, then.
All right. So, like I said, I was immediately in an Irish pub with a pint of beer in my hand, and we were all singing that song. Only I was now a male having that experience.
All right, then.
Oh my God, can I take my shoes off?
Glad you're having such an exciting time of it.
Oh, I am.
You almost sound like you're beginning a divinorum ritual.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, because that can make you shake.
Oh, that must be what it is then.
You might be picking up a little bit on the vibration of the divinorum that is within my system. Since I have gone through the ritual many times, that vibration is a part of me.
Wow.
So take a deep breath and take your time, because it can be overpowering for those who are not yet fully initiated. So just breathe easy and let it guide you.
Yes,
And
thank
continue with your story. You were saying you had a pint.
I had a pint, yes. And I was a male in that experience. And then upon opening my eyes, I found out that man was an aspect of Fred named Arian, and he and Lily are twins and parallel reality specialists.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No?
You're going a little far afield there.
Okay.
Must be the pint going to your head.
Must be. Okay, so what's
It's a
the
little bit
correction?
different than that.
Okay.
You're looking at symbols and interpreting them a little bit too literally.
Okay.
The symbols are there for a variety of reasons, and that's all well and good.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to back down a little bit so that you
Okay.
can really take the time to understand what the symbols are showing you and to ken them properly, because they are symbols of a collection of energies that you need time to process and interpret, rather than just taking them at face value the way they come across from the get-go.
Okay.
So that's part of your process, is to go back over those symbols and understand the depth of them and pick them apart a little bit and understand what they really mean, because they are folded up. There's a lot of information there. It's not just what they appear to be on the surface.
So what part is it that Fred...
Well, the name's a little off of the male.
Arian?
And the idea that they are twins is a little off.
They're
but you
not.
have to see that from a different way. Not physically, no.
Are they associated?
Say again.
They're connected in
Well,
that
they're
life?
connected, yes.
Just not twins.
But not exactly in the way that you think. You're looking at the twins in a literal way.
Okay.
It's a very different way of understanding it, and you need more understanding of the way that we see things upline from you.
Okay.
Because there are many different ways in society that people have of relating to one another, because there are many different elements in our society that don't exist in yours. So you have to understand that some of the things that you are familiar with as symbols don't have the same meaning anymore 700 years upline.
Ah, okay.
So you have to know how to live in that era in order to know what the symbols represent in our contemporary reality, rather than what they mean to you in yours 700 years down line.
Okay.
So take the time to really explore and look around and see what's really there and feel it out. And don't be too quick to jump upon the symbol and its first apparent meaning.
Okay. So then a few months ago, I started giving channeling sessions with Lily, and everybody seems to love her. And
Well, yeah, she has a sparkling personality. Not necessarily as sparkling as mine, but certainly up there somewhere.
Somewhere, huh? Close
Yes.
to it.
She knows I'm tickling her.
Yes. And at the same time, I don't feel I know who she is. I
Well,
have...
she is got a lot of levels and a lot of layers and a lot of mystery. You understand that in your reality, quite often you say that people go and they talk to your barkeep to tell them their
Yes.
problems. Well, Lily Stargazer has the tavern for a very specific reason, because it is a hub. And people will go there and they will talk and they will share their stories. And Lily will be the one to help them understand those stories in a variety of ways. So work with her that way, in the way of unfolding a story, so that you can really understand the depth of it and the meaning of it in the way that is most important and most relevant for you. So be in the pub and share your stories and talk from the heart to Lily, because she will talk from the heart to you if you're willing to go that far and that deep within yourself. And then the story will unfold like the stargazer flower.
Okay. And the rest is, I have not really connected with being my version of her, having the same information she has access to.
Well, that'll take a little while.
And having the same thoughts that she has, as you suggested.
Yes,
I
well,
feel,
that'll take a while.
Right. I feel it keeps me from allowing her to fully come through with all the
Nonsense.
Nonsense?
You're thinking too much.
Okay.
You're overthinking this. Maybe you need another pint.
Probably a few.
So allow yourself to unlock a little bit from the rigidity of the structure that you're using here. Just relax in the tavern and just tell your story. You'll start matching the frequency a little bit more accurately when you relax and don't need to.
Okay.
It'll happen magically in its own timing and in its own way. She knows what she's doing, and you have to trust that she does and let her guide you in that way rather than imposing the way you think it should go.
Right. And then now I'm coming to my aha moment.
Oh, aha.
And the reason I wanted to talk with you.
Yes.
On Wednesday, I was listening again to Bashar's protocols of first contact. I heard protocol number 9, initiate higher level communication with the connection individual, where Bashar's talking about his connection with Daryl. And he said, this means that a blending begins if the individual, that is the past self, is starting to really open up to the idea and understanding of the connection that exists between us in the nonlinear sense now, not the linear sense of saying, all right, that's my future self, this is my past self, but in the nonlinear sense of understanding higher dimensional perspectives of this connection. For example, the idea that from a higher perspective, we are one in the same soul, one in the same being expressing itself in what you would call 2 different parallel reality time frames simultaneously. Once the channel begins to grasp the idea, once the downloads to the channel begin to filter into his consciousness system, and he starts beginning to view things more 3-dimensionally, 4th-dimensionally, 5th-dimensionally, in the way that we do, then there can be a heightened degree of acceleration of the kind of information that can be delivered through that connection individual. So it made me realize that I have not been working with Lily from this higher dimensional perspective and not being my version of her. So what can you help me with that?
What do I need to add? You've said it all. You realize what it is that may be missing from the equation, and we have already told you exactly how to approach it so that you can experience it in the way that the protocol is describing. So you need another pint in the tavern.
Go to the pub and talk with Lily?
Yes, and relax and not impose the idea of what kind of structure you think needs to be there, but let the stargazer show you.
Very good.
Let her show you. She will show you. She's very good at it.
Okay.
But you need to relax a little bit and not be in such a rush.
Well, I had felt that I needed more information when channeling, because it's like I can go to a certain point, but it's like she doesn't know. I know she knows all the information, but I felt that I have to know in order for her to tell things
Why is
like
then?
Bashar.
Well, you're making an assumption then, aren't you?
That I don't know?
You're making an assumption that you need to know more than you do at the moment.
Okay.
This is a process.
All right.
And therefore you arrive at a certain point and then you stew in it. You relax.
Okay.
You have a pint at the Stargazer and you see what comes out of the conversation. Otherwise, you can't get through if you're sitting there going, I should know more than this. I should know more than this.
Right.
Who says?
Well, I've
Relax
been saying it, yeah.
and let it come.
Okay. And I think I'm already a little bit of a cryptic because I've talked to animals, birds, trees, grasshopper.
That's the first level, and many of you are initiating yourselves to some degree in that direction. Yes, that's the first stage, which is why we're going to also help accelerate the seed through the meditation with your holotope then, so that you can begin to accelerate the first level of initiation, beginning the cryptic journey. But again, understand, It is a journey that, for most of you, will take a little bit of a process, and that's all right. You're not going to become a cryptic overnight.
Okay, so this, what do you call the liquid that,
Divinorum.
Divinora?
You won't be doing that.
No.
It's engineered for our specific genetic structure.
So that's not going to be with anybody on Earth structure.
Divinorum will not exist in the way that it exists for us for quite some time, but you have other teachers. Whether you use them or not is up to you. For now, perhaps I would suggest that you stick with your imaginary pint.
Okay.
All right?
All
then?
right, now go to the pub.
By all means, you're always welcome there.
Yes, I'm so glad to find out that that's her pub.
The Stargazer Inn
Stargazer.
in Port Dublin.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
If you
Lily.
wish,
Yes.
you may, while you're there, order me a pint as well.
I will.
I won't drink it
No. But
because only mostly humans do. The hybrids usually tend not to, although some will try it now and then.
what do they drink?
Oh, they drink many different kinds of things. But you will find that we are most attracted to a kind of nectar that again doesn't exist on your planet at this time.
So then would Lily join me in her pub and drink the nectar, or what would she
would.
drink? She would. Okay.
It is a kind of golden nectar.
And I
It
could
comes
drink it
from a
also.
plant that is not indigenous to your world at this time.
And could I drink some of the nectar when I'm there?
I would suggest that if you do, you take a very small sip.
Okay.
Otherwise, it might be just a little bit too heady for you.
All right.
Way more heady than the beer because, again, in a sense, it's geared to the idea of our genetic structure.
Right.
And you may find that it will take you on a little bit of a whirlwind if you take too much.
Okay.
And you won't necessarily know exactly what to do with that. Not right now. When you have enough of a conversation in the Stargazer, then you might be able to take a few more sips.
Very good.
So,
Thank you, Lily. Love you.
I'm not Lily.
You know, I keep interchanging that name in the last couple of days, you and Lily.
Well, it is the
What
name of
isn't?
my own mother.
Oh, that's right. It is. Yeah.
So you may be sensing some of the connection within.
Okay, yeah, because
But
it's
she is Lily Hillicrissing.
right. And but I keep interchanging it every time when I've been sort of talking. I calling Willa Lily and Lily Willa.
Yes. Well, again, it can be a little heady.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Willa.
you'll straighten it out.
Right.
With the Stargazer's help.
Thank you, Willa.
You're more than welcome, dearie.
Love you.
Our love to you as well.
Hello.
And to you, good day, good evening, dearie.
Good evening.
Is it me you wish to be speaking to?
Both of you, but I will start with you.
Oh, all right. How nice of you.
Well, how nice of you.
I am always nice. Contrary to what some people have said about me.
Who are those people?
Oh, my mentor for one, but she knows I'm just full of mischief.
Okay. Well, one night, a few months ago or long ago,
Speak up, dearie.
you visited me and you asked me if I want to go with you, and I got out of my body and there you are. I mean, Bashar confirmed me that it was you,
Yeah, what did I look like then?
like a beautiful lady fish, I would say, like a...
I look like a fish?
Well, it was, yeah. It
You
was,
think I look like a fish?
That's how I saw you.
Well, then it wasn't me, dearie.
Then, but when I got out of the body, you said, I'm Willa, and you want to come with me. And I asked Bashar if it was you, and he said it was an orchestration.
That's more accurate because I don't look like a fish.
I know. That's what I thought. That's why I didn't go further with it, because I said, who am I going with? And then I went back to my body. So
Yes, you're dealing with a combination of different reflections and different beings that all got blended together. Like you threw us all in a blender and
Well,
gave
so
yourself
what
a
happened
reflection
there?
that you needed. It contained many different kinds of energies then.
I'm still trying to understand why did that happen to me and what was I meant to learn from it.
Well, what did you learn from it? How did it make you feel? What kind of a state did it put you in?
And I love the rainbow colors on the ladyfish.
Oh, ladyfish.
That's how I called her.
All right, ladyfish.
I understood that it was a
The
connection.
rainbow colors and the scales of ladyfish. So what does that symbol do for you then? Does it connect you to the system that you know is Sirius?
B.
Yes.
The next day, I opened the book, and there was.
You're dealing with the
Confused.
nomos. You're not dealing directly with me. There was a hint of my energy in there because you understand the connection, but you're dealing with the nomos from Sirius.
Exactly. Okay. So you cannot help me any further.
Well, I don't
with
know whether I
understanding.
can or not, but I'm still telling you, I'm helping you right now by telling you who they are.
I understood that the next day because that's why the book was sent to me, to see and learn about them.
Well, then what do you want to do with that knowledge? What do you want to do with the connection that you now understand is there for you?
I have no idea what to do
Oh,
with it.
certainly you must have some idea.
I keep exploring these parallel realities. I keep going into parallel realities, being like out of body, very lucid out of body experiences. And
All right.
and
And so what does that do for you then?
I love them, but I don't
Are you
know.
able to bring back any of the information and apply it in your life?
I really don't know how to apply it.
I'm going to ask you the same question that the Bashar often asks. Are you following your excitement then?
The best I can. I really.
Are you not insistent on the outcome?
I don't know what will make me happy. I just want to be happy and feel. So I really don't know what I want. No, I'm not insisting on the
Does
outcome.
there need to be a different point to your life other than being happy then? Is that enough for you to be happy?
Well,
Do you need something else to happen? Are you waiting for something to happen?
I trust that my higher self know better what I need.
I'll ask you a different question in a different way then, if I may.
Yeah.
How are you being of service?
To the world. I'm trying to work on myself as I see the world as being my reflection.
But how are you being of service through your actions in the world? What are you doing that serves others, that helps others understand more of who they are then, dear? What are you doing?
Okay, if I will say I'm trying to, you'll say it's not enough.
The idea isn't to try. The idea is to be.
do it.
So how are you being of service to others? Is there some way that you would enjoy being of service to others that you're not being yet?
I'm looking for opportunities to.
You are looking for opportunities.
To create that new world that I
Opportunities
want.
are all around you, dear. How would you like to be of service? How would it excite you to be of service in the world? What would you like to go and be doing that would help others physically?
Physically on this world?
That was the question, dear.
Yeah,
Are you
well-
on Mars or some other planet in your system then?
Yeah.
You're on the Earth, yes? So how would you like to, on your world, physically, be of service to others that would excite you?
I'm still looking. I don't
Well,
know
how
yet.
long are you going to be looking then?
That's exactly what I'm.
Well,
getting.
it's up to you, isn't it? How long are you going to be looking before you decide to take an action? Any action that is representative of that excitement? Any action at all? Why are you hesitating? Why are you waiting? You are depriving people of your gifts, you know. You're making them wait for the gifts you have to give.
What are the gifts? That's what I'm trying to learn more about myself.
The only
What are
way
the
to learn
gifts?
is to do, my dear. The only way to learn is to do. So do something. Do something that's representative on some level of those gifts. Do something that's representative on some level of being of service. And then you will learn more. You will not learn it until you start doing. You have to learn by doing.
I think I'm doing it in a way. Yeah, I'm
You have
just
said
not
that you're
going out
not,
there.
because you sound very confused.
Okay,
So that means it's not clear to you yourself.
probably, yeah.
Not probably. I'm not being probable. The idea is that you're not doing it. So what can you do to be of service? Can you give me some idea, dear?
I would like to use my intuition. I would like to...
How would you like to do that? In what way? Can you describe the scenario?
I already start doing automatic writing, but I don't trust myself with it.
And now you have hit the point, my dear. You don't
Thank
trust
you.
it. But really, it's not that you don't trust that. It's that you're trusting something else.
You know what?
So what are you trusting other than that? Why are you putting your preference in trusting something you don't prefer to trust? Why? How does it serve you to do that? What's holding you back from putting your trust in the thing you say is who you prefer to be?
I guess the fear of making a fool of myself. Maybe
Well, go
it's
ahead
not...
and make a fool of yourself. Do you think
That's
I
not
would
nice.
possibly have the ability to become a cryptic if I wasn't willing to make a fool of myself? You have to be a fool. Sometimes you have to understand that the universe doesn't always have to make sense. And sometimes it's better that it doesn't. And you have to be willing to be a fool in order
Well,
to
I am
learn
a
something
fool.
profound. Well, then go and be a fool. You understand that a fool is a precious calling. A fool makes people laugh. Yes? And they learn something from the laughter. Go and be a teacher. Go and be a fool. It's all right to be foolish when it works to serve others. When you know you are doing the thing you love to do, it's all right to be a fool because you have no idea what kind of things will be coming out of that foolishness that actually can be serving others as a gift to them. It's all right to be a fool. You have to trust it. You really do.
So is it true? It's real what's happening to me? All these gifts that are coming, you saying that I should just go there
I'm
and
not
share
saying
them?
you should do anything, darling. I'm saying that you can act on your excitement if you stop being afraid of yourself and stop being afraid of what other people think of you. Because the people that think negative and dark of you, it don't matter what they think because they don't know you. And they're not willing to receive your gifts anyway, so who cares? The ones that need your gifts will think highly of you. And those are the only ones that you need to focus on and care about, isn't it? The ones that are willing to receive what you have to give. Why would you need to spend time focusing on the ones that don't want it? That makes no sense. That's what makes you foolish, in the negative sense.
Whoa.
But you can be a fool in the positive sense and fool all the people who talk negative about you. And fool them into understanding that you are a positive fool. And that you actually can be of assistance and service to people by allowing yourself to be that fool. Is this making some sense? Is it sinking in, dearie?
A lot.
Are you willing to move forward with your automatic writing then? And see
I am
where it
moving
leads
forward.
you?
I'm already writing that book that everybody's telling me that I have to write it, but
You don't
I
have
hope-
to do anything.
I
But
love
if you
doing
really
it.
would
I
like
just-
to, then you can.
I am doing it, and then
Then keep going. And
I
don't
will
be
keep
afraid.
doing, and I will publish it, I promise you.
Don't be afraid to be yourself.
Okay, yeah. I
Please
am.
understand that if you're going to be afraid of anything, I would think it'd be afraid to be who you're not.
Yes,
For that
that's
would
worse.
be, in your
Yeah,
terms, the saddest thing.
exactly.
And in that context, then, that really would be foolish. You understand?
I do.
Is this helping you at all, dearie?
So much.
All right.
Now I understand why my name was picked up last night. I gave the ticket away, but when I was picked up tonight, I understood that.
Well, thank you for
It's
your
there.
synchronicity then.
Well, thank you.
Off with you.
Thank you so much.
The Bashar was right when he told me you really are a crazy bunch. Oh, I'm told I need to say no offense.
First, I want to start by saying thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, you're more than welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. It's always a joy and a treat for us to be taken to people down line. Is there something you'd like to say?
Yes.
Oh, one moment. We are told to wait for the technological transition. All right then. He says he's good. We'll have to believe him, I suppose.
All right, I'm not sure who I should refer this question to.
Well, we'll sort it out, dear.
Thank you. Okay, so I believe that I am following my highest...
Can you speak up, dearie?
Oh, I believe I'm following my highest preferences.
Do you believe that you're following it, or do you know that you are?
I know I am.
There's a difference.
Yes. There is a resistance that I'm choosing.
All right then, and what would that be?
I find that in certain situations, I have this anxiety that shows up, and
Yes, well, that's just a description of the side effect from holding on to the negative belief. So what would the negative belief itself actually be? What is the fear, dear? What is the fear, dear?
Probably judgment.
Judgment. By whom? About what?
Of not going along and doing what everyone else is doing.
Why would you want to be doing that?
I don't.
Then why are you afraid you will? Or why will you be afraid that you'd be judged for not doing it? Why? Did you leave?
Probably mentally running away.
What are you afraid of? Can you be more specific?
Yes.
What will happen? What will happen if you are yourself? What's the worst thing that will happen, dear? Someone will call you a name? Someone will not want to be with you anymore? Is that what you're afraid of? Someone will think less of you? Are these the things you actually fear? Or is there something else? Are you afraid you'll wind up alone?
No.
What are you afraid of? We are so eager to know. Eager to know the story that you're telling yourself that's not true. What is the story you're telling yourself that's not true?
Camera shy, I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm really apologizing to myself. That's not the question I wanted to ask. It really wasn't.
Yet that's the one you did.
I know. Self-sabotage.
We can change the subject if you wish. We don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Okay. Is there anyone here who is at the cryptic level?
No. You're all initiates.
Okay.
Unless you're counting me. But I'm no longer there either. I'm beyond that. Nevertheless. Is that it? Or would you like to go back to the original question then?
I want to go back to the original question. Okay. So if I am following my highest path, my highest intentions,
Your highest excitement, dear.
highest excitements, why is that in the moment when I have anxiety, I can't detect it? Is there a certain mantra I can use or a way? Because I always
Well, you
realize
heard
it.
the Bashar say that you could ask the question. What would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation in order to feel the way I do? If you're honest with yourself and willing to hear the answer, it'll come. Are you willing to hear the answer? Or are you afraid of that too?
I must be afraid of that.
But that means you have a belief that says you have to be afraid of that. And that's just a belief. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing negative that you could ever discover that would actually turn out to be true. Because you are deserving and you are worthy of love. So why would you be afraid to dig down and find that little smoke and mirror belief? Because it's just lying to you about yourself. It's not true. It's telling you all sorts of fibs about yourself. But you're buying into them. You're playing its game. You don't have to play that game if you're tired of it. Unless you're not tired enough. Are you not tired enough then? Of being tired?
No, I'm tired of it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right, then. What reason have you to keep playing the game?
I must believe it's serving me in some way.
You must. And in what way would you think it would be serving you then? Come on. I know you have the imagination. Who do you really want to be? Who do you really prefer to be? Who do you really know you are that you're afraid to be? Who? What? What are you?
Love.
What are you?
Love.
You are love. What else are you? You're made of love.
A piece of the one that is.
You are definitely a piece of all that is, yes. But who are you where you are? What do you do that tells people who you are? You have the saying down line, by their actions you shall know them. So what are your actions that tell people who you are? Do your actions tell people that you're a scared little girl? Or do your actions tell them that you are a strong and indestructible force? What do your actions tell? How's your body language? Are you this or are you this? Because you know it's all vibration and it all makes a difference, don't you know? Yes?
Yes.
So who are you? Are you this? Or is that just who you would like to be but don't know how?
That one.
Are you answering?
Yes, the first one. I am.
You're this?
No, I'm the second.
You're this.
Yes. Well, sometimes I think I fluctuate.
You go like this?
Yes.
Seems uncomfortable. How do you walk around like that?
It's true.
Kind of walking around like a pigeon. Is that who you want to be?
No.
Who do you prefer to be?
Confidently me.
Can you stand like that then? Are you standing like that?
I think so.
You don't know so yet?
Oh, I guess not. Okay. All right.
Are you standing like
Yes,
this?
I'm standing like that.
How does it feel to stand like that?
Empowering.
So why don't you stand like that more often then?
I will. Yeah.
You can train yourself that way, you know. It's all vibration. You understand?
Yes.
It's all states. Yes? So be the state you want to be.
Okay.
And you'll be the reality.
Thank you.
Does this help you?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Or when you walk away, you're going to walk away like this. It's good to hear you laugh, dearie. You should do it more often. Especially at yourself. All of you. Especially at yourselves. Don't take yourselves so seriously. It's all right, as we said, to be the fool. Laugh more at yourself. It's all a cosmic joke anyway. Not in the negative sense. Yes?
Yes.
But when you understand what contortions you put yourselves through for no reason at all, well, that's quite humorous. Because you don't have to do it. But you believe you do. And that's the joke. So, tell yourself a different story. Stand up straight. Look in the mirror. And see a new you. And be that you. It's not difficult. It really isn't. She's worth being. She's more fun to be. Is she not?
It's true.
You know she's more empowered.
Yes.
And if you like that feeling, then let it rub off on you. And reflect it back to the reflection. Does that sound good, dearie?
Yes.
Is it a deal?
Yes.
Would you like to shake on it?
Yes.
All right then. I understand that's something that you like to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So go and keep your promise to yourself then. Who's next?
Hello, Willa.
Hello and good evening to you, dear. You have a question, Cookie? Is it me you want to be talking to?
Yes.
All right then.
Your energy is just very intense. Feels good though.
I've been told so. But it's because of certain genes that exist within me. It's my direct bloodline to the Anu.
What is that?
The Anu is the ancient ancestor race that imparted their genetics to create the human being. And it is that which gives me the intensity going through the 5 levels of mastery that allowed me to accelerate so quickly.
Okay.
So you're picking up on that because all of you have those genetic markers of the Anu within you anyway too. And it's my vibration of that tickling your vibration of that. It's just a tickle, dear. It won't hurt you.
I know.
It may open up some doors.
Right on. Thank you. So I've lived what I would probably say a fairly exciting life, and
that sounds good, dear. Do continue.
yes, masters of limitations. So
Yes.
yes,
We've heard you called that. The Bashar often says that.
yes. So last time I talked to Bashar, he said that I made friends with death.
Well, that's a fine friend to have.
Yeah.
Death is an interesting friend, a very fascinating friend.
It is. It's very fascinating. I am fascinated with it.
And so what have you learned from death? What has death been jabbering about now? Because death is a talker, you know. Can't shut death up.
No, it always presents itself to me.
And so what have you learned in your conversations with that fine being, with that fine state, with that fine reflection of all that is?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really talking to a being, but...
Well, it can be perceived that way on different levels depending upon what your consciousness needs as that permission slip. But it is a state, and it is part of all that is, and can be represented in any number of ways. It's up to you. But nevertheless, you can know that you have a relationship with it, like all of you do, and you can learn many things from it. So what have you learned?
I feel very comfortable with it.
Then you are more comfortable within yourself?
That I'm with life.
All right. But you see, death is life. Life is death. They're just different aspects of the same coin, dear. It's just transformation. That's all it is. It's process and transformation. Process and transformation. Life and death. Process and transformation. That's all it is. It likes to sometimes puff itself up and seem like it's big and scary. But it's just the transformation that comes from the process. It's just the inevitable result of living.
Yes, I understand.
And so there's nothing to be afraid of, and there's nothing to be uncomfortable about with regard to the process or life itself, because they are aspects of one another. They are the head and the tail of the coin. You're dealing with the same basic idea, whether it's life or death. It's just that you're looking at one side or the other. And so you're learning that now then, yes?
Yes, and then he also mentioned, because I told him a symbol, and I said a circle, and he said, does sage mean anything to you? And of course, naturally, over the last couple of days, it's become a little bit more apparent, so...
And the circle is the symbol of the sage. It represents space, the void, as we have said and given you the 5 levels of mastery then. As we said earlier, the circle is the symbol of the sage, for it encompasses the totality of the physical realm and the universe. And remember that even after death there is life. It may not be the same life, but it is life. It's all life. Even death is life.
So I'm just trying to get some more direction on where...
How about that one? What about that one? Here's a good direction. How about this one? That's the best direction of all. Going within. For everything that is without is within you. And if you want to learn anything about anything that's out there, dear, you have to find it in here. That's where it rests, in your treasure chest. That's where all the treasure lay.
Okay.
So you are the treasure chest. Open yourself up.
Open myself up.
Open up the treasure chest that you are, so that you can express the treasure that is within, so that others can see you shine. Like the gold, like the treasure that you contain. Don't be afraid to open yourself up in the world. What is it you are afraid of about life? What is it you're uncomfortable with about life? Since now you know, it is just one side of the coin of death. Such as?
Fear of being alone and suffering and dying in a dark hole.
And now, why would you choose that unless, of course, you think that that would be a very exciting experience to have? Why would you choose that? Oh, are you afraid that something will choose it for you, that you're out of control somehow? Is that why something like that could happen? Because somehow you believe that you're not the one in charge? Who would be making that decision besides you to choose an experience like that? Who else is there to make such a decision, to make such a choice? Who else is there? Who do you believe there is that would make that choice for you? And that you wouldn't be able to say, no, I don't prefer that, thank you very much, and I'll be on my way then. Why don't you have the ability to say that?
That's why I'm having a hard time knowing what I'm manifesting and what I've already made contracts.
What do you mean you're having a hard time knowing? All you have to do is look at what's in front of your face. That's what you're manifesting. You're manifesting everything that's going on right now. It's not so difficult to see. You're manifesting standing on the floor of a room, talking to someone 700 years up line in the future. You're manifesting this right now like we're manifesting you, dearie. What's so difficult about that?
I don't know. I'm just
Sure you do. You're
making
playing
things
games
complicated.
with yourself. You're playing games with yourself. You're playing hide and seek with yourself. You need to be more transparent to yourself. There is nothing to be afraid of. You're a beautiful being. You don't have to hide from yourself. That's why you're having the trouble that you're having, is you're hiding yourself from yourself, thinking that you shouldn't be looking at that thing. That's a scary thing to look at, is what you're thinking. Because you think that that part of yourself is going to do things to you that you don't have any say about, that you don't have any control over when you do. But that's just a game you're telling yourself. It's just a game you're playing. It's not true. You're totally in charge. Maybe you think that being in charge is a raw deal and a tough job, but it's the easiest thing in the world. You just have to know that.
Okay.
Are you okay, dearie?
Yeah, I'm just
Will you do us a favor?
more confused.
Well, that might be a good start for
That's
you.
okay though.
It might be the best start for you because,
Yeah, that's okay.
as the Bashar often says, it's co-fusion. You're opening up and disorienting yourself so that you can reorient yourself to new things. Confusion is not necessarily a bad thing if you don't label it that way. But will you do us a favor?
Yes.
If you're willing, are you willing to do a favor for Willa?
Yes.
Will you stand front and center then, before the channel's body? Let us know when you're there. Will you put your arms out wide as you can to the sides? Have you done that, dear?
Yes.
Will you slowly turn around 360 degrees and keep doing that at whatever rate is comfortable for you? Spinning like a propeller then. Are you doing that?
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Better.
Why? What feels different? Did I tell you to drop your arms? Keep spinning, dear. Didn't tell you to stop. Are you spinning?
Yes.
How do you feel? Why? What's the difference? What's the difference? Can you describe the difference? Why does that feel good? All right. So a little more spinning then would be in order for you in life? Yes? A little more playfulness in life, spinning around, dancing through life? Are you a dancer, dear?
I have been.
Are you still?
No.
Why not? Did you not see how good you felt when you were spinning?
Yes.
So why aren't you still dancing then? What stopped you?
I manifested illness in myself. And I became
Are you ill now?
No.
Can you dance again?
I just became better a few months ago. I've been building my strength. Yes, I could.
But you can start small, can't you, by spinning? So I would suggest that you get back into the swing by spinning and start dancing in your life again, because that is the expression of your joy. And you've been too long without it. All right then?
Yes, I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. A lot more of you ought to be dancing as well, in a variety of ways, we mean.
Hello, Willa.
Good evening to you.
You're very sweet.
Why, thank you, dearie.
I have a question since you mentioned that you have some Anu in your gene. Since they're being talking about contacts with ETs, do you think is there going to be any contact with Anunnakis? Would they come to the Earth?
The Anunnaki as such don't exist that way anymore, darling. They have evolved into other things.
Oh.
You have to understand that they existed in the way that they did, in your terms, a long time ago down line, hundreds of thousands of years ago. And they have evolved into different societies now, most of them. There are those that you call the Lyrans. There are those that you call the Pleiadians, that are the direct ancestors of the ancient Anu.
Oh.
But they don't exist that way anymore, the way they used to.
Okay.
But they will be coming by the markers, the genetic markers within all of you that are beginning to open like flowers and give you more and more of the abilities of the Anu. It is because mine opened up that I am who I am. And the idea is that it's opening up within all of you, and that, in a sense, is the Anu coming back within each and every one of you, so that you become your own version of them, but in the best possible way.
Okay.
You understand what we are saying?
Yes.
Do you, Ken? All right.
Okay.
Anything else then, dearie?
Yes. I have a couple of more questions,
All
if I
right.
may ask. Can you give me some information about the Ark of Gabriel that was sent to the South Pole and to the
Sent to where, dear?
And sent to the South Pole.
We know of no such thing. Would you like to be talking to the Bashar about it?
Sure.
Give us a moment then, would you, dear?
Yes.
Are you referring to the Ark of the Covenant or something else?
Yes.
It is not at the South Pole, never has been.
Oh.
Does that answer your question then?
Can you give me some information about that? Because in the news it says that it was sent to the South Pole.
And I'm telling you, this is incorrect information.
Okay.
You have been misinformed. It has been misinterpreted. It never has been, is not now, at the South Pole.
Okay. And I've heard that lots of things are going on there, and there are some energies that are not of light. So
We are not focusing on that.
Okay.
Which reality do you prefer?
Not focusing on that.
Then don't focus on it.
Okay.
Don't give in to the idea of the fear-based stories, for that's what those that perpetrate the fear-based stories want you to buy, because that's what gives them the power that they don't actually have, is that they convince you they have power they don't actually have. That's the trick. So don't buy into the stories. Some of them may have some basis in truth, But it doesn't matter. Don't buy into those realities and you will not be in any way, shape, or form affected by them. Because you will be invisible by being a different frequency. You cannot be affected by something that is not your vibrational frequency. Or something you are not the vibrational frequency of, in whatever direction you wish to take that. So.
Okay, can you give me some information that what that is, the Art of Gabriel that you called some other names?
The Ark of the Covenant.
Covenant, okay.
It is many things. It is an ancient form of technology that was given to some of the people on your planet that acted as both a communication device, a protection device, a guidance device, many different things it had the ability to do. It also was what you might call an early form of a replicator that allowed there also to be sustenance created out of the atmosphere. We believe that you termed it manna. Do you understand what we are saying to you?
Yes.
Nevertheless, this comes from an extraterrestrial source.
Okay.
But that is an ancient story. Anything else?
Yes. Maybe it's negative, but you just...
But you're going to ask it anyway?
I have been obsessed with it, so can I ask?
You can ask whatever you wish.
Okay.
We have the freedom to not answer you.
Oh, sure.
All right.
And I heard that there is going to be an explosion on the Earth. So any...
Well, there are many explosions that happen on the Earth, both natural and artificial. Are you referring to what we said about the idea of a terrorist act? A nuclear explosion?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but I've heard that there is going to be a big explosion, and that way...
We have said that there is still a high degree of probability that there might be a small tactical nuclear explosion brought on by a terrorist group sometime within the next 5 to 10 of your years at the outside. That still exists as a probability.
Okay.
It hasn't really altered much in the timeline yet that we sense in the present time as we read your energy now.
Okay.
So, what of it? I will guarantee that if it happens, it'll never happen again. Your people will make sure of that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it doesn't have to happen to begin with, if that's what you are referring to.
Mm-hmm.
If you're referring to something else at this point in time, we can't help you.
Okay. I just heard about it. I'm not sure what it was, but...
Then let me give you a piece of advice. When you hear about things like that, if you're not sure what it means, why not just let it go?
Okay.
Until your reality brings you synchronistically information that you need that would make you more certain about what you need to know about that information. It's kind of what we call the rule of thumb. If you're not sure what it is, then it isn't that. No matter if it is. Because if you're not sure, what's the point?
Right.
When you need to be sure, your reality will allow you to be certain. If you're not certain, move on.
Okay.
Why hang around rumor? Yes?
Yes.
Otherwise, that's all your life becomes. A rumor. You stop living. And you just become a rumor yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
Does this help you?
Yes. And last question.
Yes.
Do I have any hybrid children?
Yes.
Do they have any message for me?
They just gave it to you. Don't be a rumor.
I felt one of them like a few weeks ago. Was that really one of them, or?
Yes, a male.
I knew it. Okay.
Will that do?
Yeah.
Or are there more rumors that you wish to share?
No more rumors.
Why, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I want to connect with Bashar and then Willa for a second. I have a question for Bashar.
Yes, that's who I am. So ask your question if you
very
wish.
We are talking about acting on our highest excitement.
Oh, were we talking about that again?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And
My
so?
question is, what if I feel like I'm living in simultaneous parallel universes and like see myself in different versions of myself already living at the same time, and sometimes it's like hard to act on one.
You may simply be in
one
a
kind of
you may simply be in a collection process, gathering information from different parallel realities so that you can consolidate and synthesize that information in order to move forward in this reality in the way that you prefer to. It's part of the process to gather information from other versions of yourself.
So I have this website. I'm blogging on Quantum Leap Journey, and I literally feel like I'm on Quantum Leap journeying here in this world. And sometimes I don't even understand what I'm doing. I'm just being guided to different places.
Yes.
And meeting like people who I've been like blogging about, or like, you know, whistleblowers or people from government. It's just crazy stuff like happening. I'm just being dropped on like high energetic
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's very exciting thing. It's just so, I feel like so pent up with energy, buzzing all over my like third eye. I like literally feel like I'm gonna take off as a rocket.
All right. Well, again, that's exciting.
That is very exciting. At the same time, I feel like I really want to ground those energies to be of more support to other people.
In what way, then, would you like to ground them? What permission slip do you create for yourself that would, in your mind, act as a grounding agent?
So stop for a while and just be able to
then
integrate
do so.
it. But at the same time, I feel like I need to be pursuing something, and I'm being guided to different locations.
Stop.
I stopped.
Taking time is pursuing something. Your definition is skewed. You are making it appear by your definition that taking time isn't part of the process, isn't part of moving forward, when it is. You have to go in cycles, or you won't be able to use the information. You'll become overwhelmed, as you're beginning to sound like. You need to understand that taking time to absorb the information and ground the information is part of moving forward. You are pursuing something by stopping and taking the time to absorb what you've learned. That's part of moving forward. That's part of pursuing.
So I literally feel like there is like constant energy charge and
of
like
course
electrical
there is.
kind of charge running through my body.
Of
all
course
the time.
there is, but you can use the charge in a variety of ways. Just because there's a charge doesn't mean you can't use it to relax. You just have to allow it to shift into the different forms of the energy that are then available to you to do different things with when you need to do different things. You don't have to assume that the charge has to be experienced the same way all the time. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean it's not there just because it feels different. It can transform in different ways. Remember, as we have said, acting on your highest excitement doesn't mean you have to be jumping up and down all the time and running around with your hair on fire.
Well,
Being in a am I done?
No, pursue.
Being in a state of balanced meditative peace can also be an expression of your highest excitement. You have to let your definition change in a way that allows for different states to be still representative of acting on your excitement instead of having such a limited definition of how you think you need to experience it. That's what needs to change within you, is your definition of what you think the experience is supposed to be like. Do you understand?
Yes.
Can you do that?
Yes, I can.
Then that is what will ground you.
Okay, yeah.
Along with, it might be a good suggestion as a permission slip to find some sites that are more natural, like forests of trees, and start walking among them. That would be another way, another permission slip that might work well for you to ground yourself. And as you accelerate, to slow yourself down so that the acceleration can actually be experienced in the way that it needs to, that makes sense for you. So take a walk among some trees. That will help you.
Yeah, I know, that hits home.
All right.
Okay. I've got another question.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm making like story out of it, but I've been like in different healing modalities, and I feel like I studied it all and I heard it all. Sometimes it's just we have all the knowledge, but we don't integrate it the way we should, just to bring it to third dimensional reality. And
you're still spinning your wheels.
In my
down.
mind. Yeah,
Slow down.
So
the paradox that you don't understand is that when you actually slow down, you'll go faster.
Yeah. And I know that, actually.
Then act like you know it. It can't just be lip service. You can't just talk about it and say that I know it. Knowing is in the behavior. If you're not behaving like you know it, you don't know it. You're just talking about it. So it needs to be in your behavior to demonstrate that it's actually knowledge. Because what you know to be true, you do. If you're not doing it, you don't know it. So put it in your behavior, and that will be the expression that lets you know that you know. And by the way, again, paradoxically, in addition to knowing that you know it, it's all right to simultaneously know that you know nothing. Because you are just at the beginning and always will be. Always will be. And therefore that means you are also always at the end. And that's what finds you in the center. So be in the center by knowing what you know and knowing you know nothing. And let it be all right for it to play itself out in the way that it needs to. You need to trust the way you unfold and relax into it and not overthink it and not spin your wheels, for that will take you nowhere.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I've got a quick question connected to soul's contract. Like, is it like, do we make like our own kind of meaning out of that? Like, or we all have like divine kind of gifts and soul's contract that we are being awakened to?
Of course you do. You make your agreements, but not all the agreements are necessarily very specific. Sometimes they will be general, and you will accept a number of different ways in which the agreement could be fulfilled. It doesn't always have to be set out in a very specific way ahead of time. But you all have your relations, you all have your agreements. It's all an orchestration that you've agreed to play. So yes, but they'll all unfold in perfect timing if you just move forward in the way that's truly natural for you. Yes?
Yes, that's perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's it.
Can I speak to Willa very fast?
Very fast.
Okay, very cool. Thank you
One
so
moment.
much. Cheers.
You have something to say then to us?
Cheers, Willa. How are you keeping? I came from Ireland, actually. I lived in Ireland for the last 8 years and was guided to be in the States. And
Yes,
I
well,
moved
we were
here
born there in Port Dublin.
And I actually lived in like Port Dublin, like 5
No,
minutes
you
away.
lived in Dublin.
In Dublin, like at the seaside.
We lived in Port Dublin.
Okay.
Because remember that in our time, the sea levels have risen, and Dublin is now a port.
Oh, that's
in a very different way than it exists downline in your time.
Okay, so I've got a question. What is my connection with Willa, and
With
what
me?
what brought me like with you? Yeah, like to this place at this certain time. That I needed to move from Ireland and be at certain location in here. And
Well, you're
at these
functioning as a
circumstances.
gatherer, dear. A gatherer. You're traveling around with your basket, picking up the things that you need so that you can go
feels
back
like
to where you need to be, having gathered all the things you need so that you can do what you need to do. Right now, you're out gathering. This is a natural thing. So have fun with the gathering. Carry your basket, hold it proud, and put all the things in it that you need. Gathering is part of the process. It's a fun part because you're exploring, you're finding, you're discovering, you're gathering.
Yeah, it's been quite a crazy journey in here for me. I feel like
Well, crazy is a good thing, dear.
I'm putting so much to this basket every day. It's like I feel like I lived like 300 years in like the
All
last 3
right,
months.
but darling, you're doing too much of this
Okay.
and not enough of this. Just relax into yourself, dear. Relax and be one of the things that you gather in your basket. Carry yourself around. You deserve a little break. Take a break. It's all right. All right?
I think that's my ultimate answer, actually.
Take a
And
break.
I think it's an answer for many people in here because we keep on pursuing something all the time.
Yeah, but don't worry about them.
Okay.
Focus on yourself. Take a break.
Okay.
You need a break. So take it. All right?
Yeah, well,
And it might be worthy also to take a vacation from the you that you've been, so that after the vacation, you can be someone else that's more like you, the real you. Does that sound like a plan? Does that sound like fun then?
yeah, very much so. Yeah.
All right,
It's
then
just I don't want like anything else, just to drop into the authenticity of myself.
stop doing so much of this, dear. You talk a little too much.
I do. Yeah, I know.
All
I
right.
love talking.
Get on with you then.
Okay, thank
And
you
have a
so
good time.
much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. 'Tis our pleasure.
Hi, Willa.
Good evening to you, dear.
I've enjoyed meeting you and hearing about the things you're sharing.
Why,
but
thank you.
I'd actually like to chat with Bashar because I have some things to discuss with him.
It'll be our pleasure, dear.
Thank you so much.
If you'd give a moment then.
Absolutely.
All right. And good day to you.
Hi, Bashar. I wanted to share some things. Thanks to your guidance, I've been following my excitement now for 20 years. And
Not all the time you haven't,
No.
but we understand what you
Yes,
mean.
most of the time. And my organization, Create Now, is thriving and doing much better, actually. And
All right.
And I've been getting a lot of recognition and accolades. In fact, recently I just gave a TED Talk, and
All right, dear, why are you telling us this?
Because
Will is listening in here, so you're going to hear a blend, because there's something here for you from her and from me.
wonderful. I'm glad. I would love to hear what you have to say, because what's interesting is I've been dealt these choices of going back to my past of working on exciting film productions around the world.
Would you hold it right there for a moment?
Okay.
She wants to come through more fully and share an idea with you.
Wonderful.
Now, I have something to say to you, darling.
Great.
You understand?
Absolutely.
Is it all right if I talk plain to you?
Please.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'm going to give you a phrase that my mentor taught me. This comes from Holly Cotton herself. It's not meant in any way, shape, or form to be negative. So take it in the way that it is meant.
Okay.
Are you willing?
Absolutely, I am.
You can't move forward by patting yourself on the back.
Okay, well, my question about it was,
You're not paying attention, dear.
okay, I understand, and when I seem to be patting myself on my back, I'm also expressing frustration that I'm not getting the abundance or financial support that I feel I need.
In other words, your expectations.
Yes.
And your insistence and your assumptions, which you know is not part of the formula that the Bashar has given you.
Yes, that's true.
I know. According to Bashar, that's why he said that. Because it's true. Give us a moment then, would you, dear?
I will.
What will it take in your mind so that we can work together on this to drop that insistence so that you don't experience the frustration? Because that's what it's coming from. You really need to wrap your mind around the third part of the equation and know that the support can come in many different ways, and that can be okay, and that you don't have to have such a frozen insistence on the way that you think it should manifest in order for success to be there. Success can come in many forms, and as we have often said to many of you, if at first you don't succeed, redefine success. Because many of you have different expressions that would be representative of the success for who you actually need to be, rather than who you think you need to be, which is where you're rattling back and forth between who you think you need to be and who you actually need to be. So you need to spend a little more focus on the idea of dropping that insistence so that you will not experience the frustration that you're talking about. Because it is only that insistence that is creating it, and only the idea of those beliefs that it should happen a certain way that is creating it. You understand?
Yes.
What will it take to drop that insistence in you?
I suppose it would be continued trust in the process.
And why would you stop trusting that? What
Fear.
reasons do you give? And what are you afraid of?
Lack of security or support.
And so why are you trusting in lack?
That's a good point.
Thank you. Do you have a good answer?
Um,
You don't have to give it now, but that's the question. Why do you trust in lack when it doesn't serve you to do so? Because, as we have said, and you know, and we know you know, there is no such thing as a lack of trust. There is only a trust in lack. So, take yourself on a journey that allows you to explore why you would put your trust in lack instead of what you prefer to. Work on that definition specifically. And many different kinds of things will open up for you. And understand that when we say many different kinds of things will open up, you can't, again, put conditions on what that means in the way you think you want it to be. You have to allow it to be what it needs to be to actually serve you. But you know you've already had experiences in life that when you choose to do it that way, have opened up many different things that then flowed freely into your life in ways that you didn't imagine it would. You know that, yes?
yes.
So you have to find within yourself why you're all right allowing it to work for you in some scenarios and not in others. You have to find out why you're making a difference between those scenarios in your definition of them and in your definition of your relationship to them. And that's your process in life. To gain more clarity on when you make a different definition in certain areas of your life that you don't make in others. Explore that, and it will be a very powerful key for you that will unlock you in a very, very powerful way. That's the most important thing as we read your energy that you need to focus on at this moment. All right?
Yes, thank you. Can I ask some other questions?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I will. I'm incredibly sensitive, and I've discussed this with you in the past, but it seems to be getting more intense to
Do you
sound.
not think we've just answered this question?
So the sensitivity to sound is related to this? Okay. And another question I have is, my nephew is addicted to drugs, and he depends on me, and I'm trying to not enable him, and at the same time, I am concerned and want to help him, but he seems to be stuck in a rut.
Then what can you do?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Then what can you do? Let me ask the question this way, if it brings more clarity. If you discover in being all well and good that you provide whatever help you can and assistance you can, where you can, that being said, will you be all right if you discover that there's nothing you can do?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I have no choice.
Can you, if you find that there is nothing you can do, if the individual is not willing to open up to different ways in which they can know they are an empowered being, we assume you're sharing these kinds of informational bits with them to the best of your ability, but if they can't open up to that concept that they are an empowered being, then you have to know that even though they think that of themselves or feel that of themselves, that if you look deeper, you will know they are an indestructible soul. And that what they are experiencing now is only going to be an infinitesimal part of the greater journey that that being is on. And that you don't have to view them as disempowered because they are empowering themselves to experience disempowerment. Do you understand?
Yes.
It doesn't mean they cannot choose something else, but if they don't, being in a positive place within yourself when there is nothing else you can do to help someone is actually the most help you can give them, because you are seeing them as an indestructible soul that will ultimately be just fine, no matter what they're going through now. So you can come from a higher level of compassion in that way that will actually give them the best vibration possible to match, even if they don't choose to match it. But you have to arrive within yourself at a point where you recognize that there may not be anything else that you can do, that you have done your best. Yes?
Yes.
And please understand that even if it seems like there's nothing else you can do for them, what it is the situation and circumstance has allowed you to do may actually be for the purpose of giving that to someone else for whom it will work. And they may have trained you by their refusal to be helped to actually give you the ability to help someone else, because they might be willing to change. And you will have developed the tools and the techniques and the conversations with this person who may not change in the way that you may require those tools and techniques and conversations for another person who will. And that brings you to the understanding that even this may be an orchestration for other people you have yet to meet. Is this making some sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Can it help you relax into the circumstance a little bit more easily?
I think it will. I think it allows me to realize I can't do anything else than what I'm doing, and I have to let go and let God. And
in a sense, you have to surrender to the control that's already there, that you already have, and not try to control it, but surrender to the control you already have. Yes?
Yes.
Does this help you?
It does. Thank you. And I just have one last question. Can you tell me how Adam, Ariel, and Adrian are doing?
They're doing fine, and that's all you're going to get right now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bashar and Willa.
Thank you. And she says you're welcome as well.
Hello, Tadea.
I sensed you coming, Nania.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. Do we have time for a few questions from Ustream listeners?
We do.
Okay. The first one is, you mentioned that there are other ships besides your own position above Sedona around the Earth.
Yes.
So where are the others located, and what is their purpose?
Again, like us, they are helping to adjust energy waves in certain vortices around your planet to aid and assist in easing the transformation and transitions that you are going through at this time, if you are willing to tap into the vibrational energy that we are flowing into those vortices, the grid of energy around your planet, to help balance out the transformational energy. Not only above Sedona, but above what you call Shasta, above what you call Haleakala, above what you call Fujiyama, above what you call Kilimanjaro, above what you call Everest, above what you call Chimborazo, above what you call many different areas on your planet. Yucatan, Glastonbury, Ayers Rock, one is directly above the Taj Mahal. One is above Crete. One is directly above the Eiffel Tower. One is directly above the White House. One is directly above the Kremlin. One is directly above Cairo. One is directly above the North Pole. One is directly above the South Pole. One is directly above the center of Mongolia. One is directly above Beijing. One is directly above Mexico City. One is directly above La Paz. One is directly above Black Rock. You call this the carved heads. You call it Mount Rushmore, but it is Black Rock. These are the ones of my society. There are hundreds more from other civilizations.
What other civilizations?
Some Pleiadian, some Sirius energy, some Yael, some other civilizations we will not go into at this time.
What is the race of our hybrid children called?
They are still deciding if they should have a name. For now, they are simply your children.
Do the children connect with the beings that are in the positions you're describing?
Sometimes, some of them, not all.
What would be the purpose of that connection for them?
The purpose would be germane to each child.
Right. Like what kinds of beneficial experiences?
If they wish to feel the vibration of a certain vortex on the earth to gain familiarity with the energy of the area that they might ultimately land in and live in, or at least visit, or practice in, acclimating to your society in.
Similar to us going and visiting a foreign land and being imbued with the vibration of that location?
Yes.
And so, is there a way that we can act as conduits for the children to see through our eyes?
You can by being in those locational vortices and thinking of them and opening up to their arrival.
Yeah, and we can engage with them in playful ways.
Yes. It is up to you to use your imaginations in this and your permission slips.
But always wondered about that, like other beings, do they sometimes look through our eyes, especially if we're having...
In a manner of speaking. In other words, they match certain frequencies that give them the same perspectives that you have. That's what looking through your eyes means. It doesn't mean they're literally in your head looking through your physical eyes.
Yeah, it's more like if you come to a scene and something is so incredibly beautiful and you just want all of creation, I guess, to enjoy this amazing
And
thing
those that
you're
wish
seeing.
to tap into that vibration will, and they will have a similar perspective and a similar experience, of course, in their own terms.
I get the feeling it's almost like that's a natural component of creation.
It is.
That there are others that will enjoy the scene too, either, but it's not like they tap into your mind. I mean, how does
they
it
match your
work?
frequency.
And then they're seeing
Then they have
the
their own
same
version of the
thing
experience.
that
Yes.
you're seeing.
Well, not identical, but their own version.
Right.
It can be sometimes so similar you can't tell the difference, but sometimes it can be very different. But it's
Because-
the experience they need to have of that.
Because basically it's a frequency of information that's coming to the person in a sense.
Yes.
And the other person
Because
will
everything is
see.
information.
Right. So the other person's mind will create a version of it, just like in a dream, where we translate experiences we're having on another level
Yes.
into symbols that we can understand here, but it's not a
Yes.
one-on-one necessarily.
Correct.
So, and that's very connecting to realize that when you're in a state where you're perceiving amazing, unique, beautiful things about Earth, that there are others that can share in that. And
Yes. And the children wish to remind all of you that everything is a symbol.
would you care to elaborate on that? You mean everything is, yes.
Everything
yes.
is a symbol.
Because it's all just energy.
A reflection.
Yeah.
That's all. Everything is a symbol.
And that's why we're responsible for the dream that we're dreaming, right?
And symbols are a language. If you understand that everything is a symbol, you will understand how to speak the universal language.
But it's always about how you interpret the symbol that you're looking at.
Of course. But there is a universal component to it. That is the same for everyone, everywhere, every when.
Like?
It is the core vibration of all that is. That is always at the center of every symbol. And when you understand how to read the symbols that are your own reflections, you will understand how to tap into the universal language. And the universal language is the vibration that you call unconditional love.
Oh. Huh.
It is actually a language. It is a vibrational language. You can learn to actually speak it, in a sense. You can learn to express the universal language.
Just by understanding the symbols that you create in your reality and how to relate to them.
Yes, and tapping into the core of each symbol, which is the source.
Okay. The primary frequency of existence.
Yes.
So how that would relate to like seeing something beautiful and unique, that would put you in a high vibrational state when you're having that experience.
Yes,
and
but
then,
it doesn't put you in the state. You choose the state.
because of the way you're interpreting.
So that you can have the experience. Remember, it's the other way around. You have to be in the state to have the experience. I know that in your linear reality, sometimes it looks like the thing itself puts you in the state, but it doesn't really. You have to be in the state. You have to choose the state to have the experience, which can then reinforce the state, in a sense, by reflectivity. But you actually have to be in the state to have the experience. And it is that understanding that will transform and revolutionize your reality.
So the idea that we're kind of wired for a certain kind of beauty, like they did that kind of research where they saw that the human brain responds to certain kinds of patterns in a way that is experienced as perceiving beauty.
Yes, and that's just the beginning. You have just touched the surface of that.
So in
You
terms
have
of
no idea how deep the beauty goes yet.
because we're limited in how deeply we feel the connection with ourselves.
There is a saying that exists on your planet among some of your early physicists that went something like this with respect to the discipline known as quantum mechanics. The saying, to paraphrase, goes like this. If when you study quantum mechanics, if you are not utterly stunned and boggled, you didn't understand it. So the idea here is, and again, it doesn't always have to be expressed exactly literally this way, but you'll get the idea as a metaphor, at least. If you tap into the inexpressible love and beauty of creation, you would simply fall to your knees and burst out crying and laughing simultaneously. And that's when you know you get it. Because everything that you think is real will collapse into that moment, and you will finally understand what reality really is. How's that sound?
That sounds really good. I was just realizing that even if people have had that experience momentarily, let's say, that they may diminish it later by going, oh, it doesn't last, or, whatever. But what you're actually saying is that is the frequency, and there's nothing worth more than experiencing that frequency.
And it always lasts in different forms because everything is made out of source. So even if it appears not to last, it is still lasting, but in a different form.
Right.
And again, when you wrap your mind around that and truly understand it and know it to be true, that's when you have the experience of allowing yourself to consciously orchestrate the way you use it and recognize it in all of its forms. Yes?
Yes, that's a much more positive way to interpret these kinds of ecstatic, amazing experiences, to really be able to fully appreciate what you've been given.
Yes. It seems that you are approaching the timing for your holotope experience.
It does seem like that, doesn't it?
It does. Therefore, we will allow you to take a short break, after which Willow will take you through your holotope meditation for planting the seed of the 5 levels of mastery. Enjoy a short break. How's it going?
Good.
All right, let us say we will continue the transmission in the following way. But before we facilitate Willa for the meditation, we would like to expand a little bit on the transmission that she will be delivering tomorrow of your time, called the Winter Spirit. Because this idea will not only delve into the concept of nature spirits in general, but also specifically that there is a literal winter spirit, an elemental being that she will go into and describe to point out to you that that being historically is the beginning of what you understand for your Christmas season to be Santa Claus. So she will give you the history of this and how it evolved in the way that it has in your society, and explain to you the relationship that exists 700 of your years in the future to that being at that time. For it is very different than what you now experience during your holiday season. We will then now allow for the shift and the facilitation Enjoy your meditation. Are y'all having a good time then? Then we will ask you very kindly if you would begin to relax so that you can go through this particular meditation with us in planting the seed of the 5 levels of mastery within you, as to whatever degree you are willing to accept it into your minds and your hearts and into your spirits. So as you begin to breathe, allowing yourself to let go of all those things that you may have brought in with you today, all those things that spin around your head, all those things that you feel overwhelm you, allow yourself to set them at your side, if you will, down on the floor next to you. You can always pick them up again if you wish. But for now, you don't have to hold on to anything. Just allow yourselves to let go and relax and journey with me. And as you allow, we understand your lighting to change and your music to come along for the trip. Allow yourselves to focus on the holotope before you and allow yourselves just to let the dreams in. Allow the energies in. Let them go where they will, for they know what they're doing. For they are part of the structure and nature of existence itself, and they know how to find their way automatically. You don't need to help them. You just need to be open to them. And when you are, they will find all those lovely little nesting places within you, where they belong, where they fit, where they will rest, and where they will dream. And as they dream within you, those dreams will expand and merge and blend together into a bigger dream. That will become the dream of the real you, if you allow it to be. So as you drift and dream with us now, allow yourself the opportunity to picture, even as you view the holotope, to picture the triangle of the cryptic, the triangle that represents the physical world, the triangle that represents the mountain, the majestic, strong, indestructible mountain, the triangle of the cryptic that allows you to begin to feel the vibrations of the trees, the vibrations of the leaves, the vibrations of the water that feeds the roots, the vibrations of the grasses and the flowers, the vibrations and the songs that the animals sing, the vibrations of the earth and the sky, the vibrations of the clouds, the vibrations of the sun and the moon. And as you begin to allow yourself to feel these vibrations, let them sink deeply within you, let them resonate within your heart. And allow yourself to know, whether you know it now or not, that there is a language here, that there is always a language, there is always a conversation going on all around you, and it passes right through you all the time. And the idea of becoming the cryptic is to become that which translates and decodes this conversation, which is why it's called the cryptic. For that level of understanding allows you to translate that language through your heart, through your mind, into your very soul. And in allowing it now to recognize itself within you, to know that it is penetrating your very being, that it is always passing through you as though you were transparent as glass, it still reflects and bounces off the different facets within you. And it culminates in whatever way, shape, or form, whatever reflection you need at the moment, You will always learn what you need to know at that moment from the trees and the grasses and the flowers and the birds and the bees and the water and the sea and the sky. The clouds, the sun and the moon will always be giving you all the vibrations that will carry information to you. And you, being your own hologram, you being your own synchronicity, will always translate exactly what you need out of all of those conversations. And it will not be a cacophony to you, but it will be a sweet song and a sweet sound that is specifically for you and you alone. And it'll be talking right to you and right to your heart in clear tones, in clear words, in clear understanding. And it will sink in. And you'll begin to have those communions and those conversations, and you begin to hear more and more of what's going on in nature as you yourself allow yourself to express yourself more as nature. For nature you are, and it is your nature to be natural. And allow yourselves to drift in that direction like you're floating down a stream and following the current, knowing it will take you exactly where you need to go. And it will bring you to the shores that it needs to bring you to. And everything that you need will be there with you. And as you allow yourself to continue to resonate in the seed of the cryptic, in the seed of the triangle, in the seed of the mountain, you begin to recognize that there is more than just this world, that there are an infinite number of parallel ones, all experiencing their own version of themselves, their own version of their own nature. And it is a loud, sweet song and a loud, sweet chorus of harmonies resonating through infinity. All these worlds, all these versions of not only your own precious earth, but of all the worlds there are. And as you begin to recognize all these different realities, all these different parallel versions of yourselves in a multitude of forms and shapes and reflections, that there is experience in each and every one of these, and that you can draw upon it with your knowledge. You can see, you can feel those experiences, and you can bring enough of those experiences into your own reality, having grounded yourself as the cryptic, so that you will not be uprooted by the forces of the winds that come from other realities that are not necessarily your own focus, but that they will pass through you and leave behind what they need to leave. Just that and only that. And that you will be able to gather all the information that you need as though you were walking through the forest, gathering leaves, twigs, and flowers. And each one with its own scent and its own understanding, its own knowledge, its own symbolism. And as you rely upon those deep roots that you have planted in the ground that are drawing up the sustenance that you need, you can stretch your senses forward more and more into these parallel worlds and draw from those experiences of the alternate versions of yourself. And you can begin to ken much more than you know before. And you can begin to apply this in your life. And you can begin to experience a deeper richness of the tapestry and the weave and the textures of life. And as you then go into the night of secrets and open up in the nocturnal way and see more penetratingly in the light of the moon all the different avenues and the balances of energy, both male and female, both light and dark, and the cycles of night and the cycles of time and the cycles of existence within you, and gather together all of that knowledge and all of that experience from all those parallel worlds and feel the vibrations coursing through you and deep into your bones. Do they begin to resonate within you? So too you begin to take on some of those frequencies, and as you do more and more, begin to identify ways of using that as permission slips from the parallel worlds, and begin to truly understand and know all the different versions and parallel synchronicities of your being, and the oversoul self that provides them and extends them to you in all of those multiple simultaneous incarnations that your greater being is all at once. And you feel those vibrations deep in your bones, and your bones begin to shift and change and take on those qualities. and you begin to become and exhibit and express and reflect many of those different versions of yourselves, and begin to truly shapeshift into many different expressions and angles and perspectives of your being, even if you don't begin to recognize that they are reflections of you, be they trees and birds and bees and rivers and lakes and seas. For they are all you and you are all them. They are just different angles of you in all of the endless hall of mirrors that exist within those parallel worlds. And you begin to take on those characteristics and begin to reflect them like you become a rotating mirror yourself, and reflect to all who witness you and see you those different versions of your being. And you begin to learn how to present what you need to present at that time that serves the best of all who look upon you, all who witness you in that way, so that they see exactly the face that they need to see. They see the reflection they need to see at that moment, at that time, through synchronicity and perfect timing. And as you begin to allow yourself to understand then as a shapeshifter that all of those parallel worlds exist within you, not outside of you, but within you, and exhibit more and more and more of them, and begin to shift into the manners of a sage who begins to exhibit not only the individuality of all the differences that those parallel realities give you to behold, but the fullness of the realities themselves and all the things that exist within it, all the landscapes and all the stars and all of the moons and all of the suns and all the different ways that the worlds have of expressing themselves, from those that may seem at first to be very familiar to you, so familiar that you may not even be able to immediately see the difference, because there may only be the difference between your world and theirs of a single atom, to those that are so different you wouldn't recognize them as versions of your world at all. And as you begin to understand that you contain all of these within yourself, so too then can you perform the expressions and acts that heretofore you called wizardry and magic, to transform apparently the very reality around you, so that the reality takes on the appearance of those other worlds and items and ideas within them, so that it appears that these things are manifesting out of thin air, out of the blue, when in fact they are simply different reflections that are shifting from different worlds because of the skills of the sage in presenting them in the way that they need to be presented, and reflecting them in the way that they need to be reflected to those who are witness to these things. And you become more, ultimately, the holographic presentation in a way that transforms out from you the very fabric of space and time itself, to warp it and weave it and wrap it in different forms and present to you different realities that may manifest magically before your eyes, so that you may participate in those different vibrations along with the sage who presents them to you as the holographic mirror of your soul, the holographic mirror of your mind, and the holographic mirror of your spirit, and presents to you the fullness of the expression and experience of an oversoul expressed in physical terms by the shifting of the different realities you may experience, and you may experience shifting through you, and feel that you are standing perfectly still as reality itself begins to pass through you, and all the different parallel realities begin to show up within you, so that you may see in your outer reflection the manifestation of those different realities, as if your world has shifted to another and another and another and another. But all of that shifting has been going on within you as you have shifted yourself over and over and over again. For you are all the shards of the shattered mirror that reflects infinity to you from all the different perspectives and the angles that you are, and all the different ways that you can experience and perceive yourself. And this is the realm of the sage. And as you have been going through these different seeds, first starting with that triangle that represents the mountain, and through the nocturnal that represents the fluidity of the seas and the emotionality of connecting to all of these different realities. And then as you go into the shapeshifter, represented by the arc and the arch of the sky and the shifting weather patterns and the mercurial rains and seasons as they change and shift around you. And as you go into the sage that manifests the different presentations of space and time that are represented by the circle of the universe and space and time itself. You then take that step into the level of acting as the bridge and becoming the Wraith that stands between the worlds of the physical and the non-physical, the worlds of matter and spirit that is represented by the dot, which is the center and source of all things, that allows you to experience the manifestation of a quasi-physical reality so that you may actually allow yourself to express the template of physical reality within you to the degree where you can shift that blueprint, shift that reality, and call upon the powers of spirit, the experiences of spirit, the knowledge of spirit that manifests the idea of physical reality as a living, lucid dream, for it is made of spirit and becomes so highly flexible that you don't know where the physical world begins and the spirit world ends, and the spirit world begins and the physical world ends, and it all becomes one lucid dream that you drift in, that you are constantly awake in and constantly dreaming in, that you float through and manifest within yourself in such a way as to allow those that witness you and come upon you to experience the manifestation of their own spirits and their own souls in that way, to feel the expansiveness of their connection to source and creation. For you are now the embodiment as the Wraith of the two worlds blended, of the physical and the non, of matter and spirit, of time and space, and all the illusions that you believe are real to be seen as smoke and mirrors that blow away in the wind, smoke and mirrors that blow away in the wind, and allow you to drift and dream in the dream of your own making, and knowing that that dream is reality, and that the reality is the dream, one and the same, no differentiation. And you drift and dream within this and become all the shards, all the reflections, the gleaming of light of the sun, the gleaming of the light of the moon, expressed in a single experience, as sweet as anything you have ever tasted, as fresh as anything you have ever breathed, as brilliant as anything you have ever seen, and as beautiful as anything you have ever heard. Sweet chimes and bells are the language of light, the language of love, the language of the infinite within you. Take that deep breath in now and anchor these seeds within you, for this is the beginning of a marvelous journey within yourself that never ends. And as you allow the lights to dim and your music to soften, and you go into the void that is the velvet darkness from which you were born, from which the spark of life and light emerged, from the nothing that is something, from the nowhere that is everywhere, from the infinite that is the all. Allow yourselves then to taste of that sweetness that is your own being. As you walk through this journey of your soul, know that we are always with you, always leading you, always guiding you into more and more and more of your sweet self. We so deeply appreciate your willingness to allow us to share these ideas with you this day. And it is the sweetness of your soul. It's the reason why we refer to you all as our cookies. For you are delicious to behold. Our deep appreciation to you all then bid you all fair journeys. Good evening, my dears. Sweet dreams, and welcome to your home.